Greetings, folks. Carlos here. Just a heads up, this episode you're about to listen to was recorded way back in the long ago of November 14th, so a few weeks back. It hasn't been released until now because I'm very lazy and horrible. We do have a lot of thoughts about World of Warcraft Shadowlands and about the recently announced Saga Frontier Remaster. Our next episode will delve into those. If you have any voicemails to leave about that or anything, go to our website, twofatguystalk.com or animeroof.xyz. Click on send voicemail, send us a voicemail. We'll answer it on the next show. Until then, enjoy this episode.
Spoilers and offensive content to come.
So the other day, I was going through old episodes of the Super Mario Bros. 3 cartoon and seeing which ones I could find good upskirts shots of Princess Toadstool.
God damn it.
And there was one really good one that you can get one frame that is really, really stimulating to the young mind. But I, unfortunately, didn't take a screenshot.
What is wrong with you?
I think those old Mario cartoons, more the Mario Brothers Super Show than Mario 3 or Mario World, I think those cartoons were actually really good. They had good music, they had creative plots. I've already talked about how I think Zelda is a lot better than people give it credit for.
Yep.
And this isn't just because I'm listening to older episodes of the Hard Drive podcast, which used to be called the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, where they literally watch an episode per show and talk about it as they watch it.
Gee, I wonder why they changed the name.
See, and I'm thinking we should do something like that, but then I started looking for shows we could do that for, but they already have podcasts. My first thought was Walker, Texas Ranger. But there's already a podcast that covers Walker, Texas Ranger. And then I stopped looking because I realized that takes a lot of work.
Yep.
So I've looked at one possibility and I'm all out of ideas.
Yeah, that sounds like you.
But I couldn't get, I couldn't save that frame, but if I do find it,
Don't share it.
I'll make it the title card of our next podcast.
No, you won't.
Speaking of which, folks, this is Two Fat Guys Talk, the podcast, the series, the legend. My name is Carlos.
This is Dave.
And we talk about things, usually gaming related, because this podcast used to be called Two Fat Guys Talk Games. And then one day Dave was like, take the games out. But let's mostly talk about games anyway. But we have, we've expanded our scope. We're civilized gentlemen who have a variety of interests.
No. You can't make that claim with how you open this up.
Do you want me to lie? Princess Toadstool is an adult woman.
Just stop. Just stop. At least you weren't trying to do that in Smash Bros.
I did. In Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Damn it.
If you do her tilt forward A, she does a high kick. And at the time, they weren't making that part black, where you try to look under the skirt. Now, she doesn't straight up have lace panties. She has kind of these royal bloomers.
Would you stop?
But it's so hot, Dave.
Fuck me.
In the first Kingdom Hearts game.
No, stop. Stop.
Oh, boy. Then you don't want me to talk about the second one either.
No, I don't. I really don't.
The camera tries to stop you, but there's tricks. Jesus fucking Christ. Why hasn't the FBI come for me yet?
They got their hands full in the States.
Speaking of hands full.
No.
Let's talk about the new gaming generation. Dave, I've been looking at this Xbox Series X/S and thinking to myself, holy shit, this thing is backwards compatible all the way to the original Xbox.
Yep.
And the majority of all generation of Xbox games work on this. You can buy them digitally or just throw the disc in. And I'm like, cool, there's actually games of every Xbox generation that I have loved, especially the 360.
Yeah.
You could still go buy on your Xbox Series X Castlevania Harmony of Despair and play it. Like,
if you wanted to waste many hours.
True. But
that game was only ever fun when you're playing with friends that were good enough.
I think if we talk about that game, its failings and what it should have done well, we're going to need an entire section for it. So let's put the pin on that for now. Maybe we'll come back later this episode.
Sure.
But every generation of Xbox has had games I've loved. Panzer Dragoon Orta.
I bought you that.
Yeah, you did. The various Halos, Gunwitch.
Now, I'm going to stop you there for just a second.
The entire Gears of War trilogy on 360.
Can we agree that Halo and Gears of War basically was at its best in the 360 generation?
Now, Gears of War only started in this generation. There was never
I know.
There's never an OG Xbox Gears of War.
I know.
However, keep in mind, Halo 2, the original Halo 2 was an OG Xbox game. And it was the fucking bomb.
Sure. But I would say Halo, up until the 360, its good days died with the 360. Same thing with Gears.
Wait, hold up. So you think that they were at their best on 360, but it's also where they died?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Because...
Oh, hang on. Let's talk about the games that were on those series on the 360. There was Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo Reach.
Yep.
All solid titles. Reach is probably the best of those ones.
Yeah.
Although ODST is fun, has a fun story mode. And the 3 Gears of War games and Judgment were the 4 titles that were on 360, and I liked all of those. Gears 4... Was Gears 4 on 360? I think it was. I think Gears 4 was on Xbox 360.
No, I don't
That wasn't an Xbox One game, I don't think.
I think it was.
Find out.
Yeah, Xbox One.
Okay, my bad. So yeah, definitely the later ones aren't my favorites, but still though, every generation has stuff. Like even Xbox One, you have an Xbox One, and there are a couple games we played on it that are fun. So I mean...
And yet, I look back at my Xbox One purchase I got it as a gift, and honestly, it was a waste. I mean, the only game that it's got that didn't come to PC was the Rare Collection.
Mod that thing, turn it into an emulation machine.
Yeah, it can just sit on a shelf somewhere. Ultimately, for a PC gamer, having the console makes no sense.
The point, though, is that the Series X/S, which I'm going to simplify by just calling Series X from now on, backwards compatibility alone, and especially with some exclusives Microsoft now has thanks to their Bethesda acquisition, that actually is looking like, at the moment, if I had the money to burn and the space to put a new system in, and I have neither of those things, that is looking like potentially my acquisition.
And yet, for me, I have no intention of touching
I'd want
the
both.
Xbox Series X system because I can play with an Xbox controller on my PC. Microsoft has doubled down saying that all of their first-party games that they're going to be bringing out, they intend to put onto PC. So, again, you have to draw that line. For a PC gamer, Microsoft has made it pointless to have an Xbox Series X.
Final Fantasy 16 is a PS5 exclusive, 4 and 5.
I appreciate what Microsoft is doing there. They weren't just all words this time. They were like, damn it all, we've let you guys down in the past. We're going to start putting our games on PC and supporting the PC system. And they have. I mean, the Xbox Game Pass for PC has been phenomenal.
Yeah, they put Tetris Effect Connected on there. I've been playing it a bunch.
Okay. Nice little bonus, but I mean, they've had some actual big titles on there.
Like Tetris Effect Connected. Huge title. Did very well.
Sure.
Hell, it even has your vaunted VR support in it.
Actually doesn't.
Sure it does. You can play that game in VR.
I haven't been able to get it to work with my my system.
And how is that Tetris Effect Connected's fault?
Well, if it doesn't have support for the VR hardware that's out there, then...
Have you maybe thought about that your VR hardware maybe isn't good enough to play Falling Tetro Pieces game?
Hang on. I think I'm getting a nosebleed from the... That was so stupid, I'm getting a brain aneurysm. Okay, it stopped.
All right.
A good game, but I appreciate what Microsoft is bringing onto it. And even though the games do eventually go away, I mean, damn it all, they've had a great library on there of games that I've been able to play and finish. Good job, Microsoft. That's all I'm saying. That buying the hardware doesn't make sense because I don't need a mini PC.
That is ultimately what it would be. Purely for the backwards compatibility is what I would consider it. But
amazing selling feature.
The PlayStation 5 is more for the forward-facing stuff, like Returnal and Final Fantasy 16, which are my big killer titles for a PlayStation 5. Whereas for Xbox Series X, for me, it's just the ability to have those libraries easily playable in one box.
And this is where I made the 360, like for Halo and for Gears being the best and the end of it.
Ton of XBLA titles.
And Xbox Live arcade titles. The reason why I say that is in the old days, a new Gears game would have been a system seller for us.
Mm-hmm.
I still have yet to finish Gears 5. Because you know something? I don't care.
I watched all of the story, and I don't want to play it.
Yeah. We played Halo 4, and it was not good.
No, it wasn't good.
Halo 5 didn't have split screen. Halo 6, they're bringing that back because they realized how pissed off the fans were. But, I mean, both games are basically dead to us.
Dead to us. They're dead to me. I'll never again chat with anyone. They just make 2D Metal Slug. Why haven't there been Gears of War or Halo guest characters in Metal Slug games? There have been Gears of War guest characters in Capcom games.
Yep.
There have been Halo guest characters in Tecmo Koei games.
Yeah, I mean, they'd fit with Metal Slug, no problem. But Metal Slug's another game series I would love to see get the way forward treatment. Because they've kind of stayed static and haven't really grown at all with them just re-releasing the same games, basically. Back to the new systems, though. So the Xbox Series X systems are having disk drive issues.
I've heard of this. I've also seen a lot of fake smoking with them.
Yeah, that's where the whole please stop blowing vape smoke into your Xbox comes from. I thought it was a joke article, and I realized, wait, people are actually doing this.
This is why optical media is on its way out. It should be about cartridges.
Fuck you. No. When I buy a PlayStation 5, I will be buying the one with disc drive. Simply because, A, I want to play my old games on it. B, I still believe in physical media. But I understand those who want to go with the digital only. Now, the other reason I don't want to go digital only on my PlayStation 5 is it doesn't have enough storage space right now, and you can't expand it right now. So fun. They definitely lowball us on the storage space on the PlayStation 5. Now, Sony's having their own problems with the PS5. With everything from bugs to not powering on to glitches in PlayStation 5 games. Massive bugs on PlayStation 4 games. The list of games that don't work with the PS4 are growing exponentially almost.
Of PS4 games that don't run on the 5?
Yeah. Yep. Like originally they gave us 10 titles these are the 10 titles that do not work. Everything else, as far as we know, works fine. Well, your QA group sucks.
Now, let's not blame QA.
No. Look.
QA is always overworked and under. Let's blame management. QA probably told them. Management probably shut them down.
When I blame QA, I am not actually blaming the QA team.
Then you can't say you're blaming QA.
No, I'm blaming quality assurance.
Which is the people.
No, it actually isn't. Because you're right. The quality assurance team is the first to be cut, understaffed, and overworked.
Well, them and writers, but let's not go there too much.
But writers don't matter when it comes to testing.
Okay. Hi, my name's Dave. I'm a fucking knob.
No, quality assurance in general has never been either of these companies' strong point. That's all. I'm not blaming the people. I'm blaming the management. Quality assurance, obviously, there was not enough testing done due to understaffing and everything else, whatever. But the QA in general wasn't done here. Okay? I don't need to blame Joe in QA. I don't need to do that. It's just in general, obviously they didn't do enough testing.
Why is Joe the first name you thought of?
I don't know.
It's a real QA name, Joseph.
Do you want me to throw out some foreign name to become an asshole or something?
Why don't you try?
A quiche.
There you go. You heard it here, folks. First, folks, Dave thinks that all QA people are immigrants.
Anyway, I mean, we were going through the list earlier. And I mean, there are some big titles in there that have bugs, glitches, and everything else on PS5.
Like Sony first-party stuff. Little Big Planet.
Big Planet 3. Sony party games are on there. Are you kidding me?
First and second parties.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, a bunch of the Assassin's Creed games were on there. DOA. It just... How? I mean, it's not like it's a whole different architecture. We're not talking the PS2 to the PS3 to the PS4 kind of thing. We're talking just a more powerful system. It's not an entirely new architecture, so it shouldn't have problems like this. But anyway, so we're dealing with, of course, way understocked items that probably will remain understocked into the new year kind of thing. It's what both companies always do to make sure that they're always selling out. I mean, hell, certain stores are saying digital only sales. Just go to our store. Don't bother going into our stores because we're not going to have stock. Except for weirdly up here in Canada, Costco has stock of the PS5, but to get one, you have to buy a TV.
I have a Costco membership, not for myself because I have family who often wants things from Costco.
Why not?
So I will often go there right when they open.
Yeah.
And if I'm not out of there in 10 minutes, I'm not out of there for like an hour.
Yeah.
You can still get a $1.50 hot dog and a pop, though.
Yes, you can. I go in there for a lot of things like cheese sticks and fruits and vegetables.
I don't know why that's funny to me. Cheese sticks and also fruits and vegetables. There's nothing funny about what you just said, but for some reason, it tickles me.
I mean, just to say, if you're not targeted, if you actually start going up and down the aisles, yeah, it can take forever. But anyway, stock is going to be very low.
I meant more because of the lineups, but that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Stock is going to be low, but I don't feel the need to have a system until probably Q3 next year when a game I actually care about comes out. And that's Horizon Zero Dawn 2.
That's not the name.
I know it has an actual official subtitle. I just don't know it off the top of my head.
I'm looking so forward to it that I don't know what it's called.
It's the second Horizon Zero Dawn game.
Horizon. Is it Horizon or Horizon?
Horizon.
Hydro City or Hydrocity?
Hydro City.
Wrong.
However,
it's Hydrocity.
Hydrocity is still a good name.
Yes.
But there's usually a space in between there. So it's Hydro City.
There actually isn't. It's all one word.
Is it?
Yeah.
That was one of those jet ski games that became very popular on PS2.
No. That was I forget what game that is. I know what you're talking about though. No, I'm talking about the zone in Sonic 3 and in Sonic Mania.
Okay.
The Labyrinth Zone, but actually good.
Yes. Just for a segue, there was a period...
Oh, I'm going to get a segue for this? Okay, go.
Not so much a segue as just, let's move into a subtopic.
So I'm not getting a segue.
You're not getting a segue, no.
What am I getting out of doing this fucking show anyway?
My company and a web presence.
Goody.
Remember that period back in the late 90s to early 2000s when all of a sudden every game system had to have like multiple jet ski games?
Jetmoto! That was the game you're thinking of.
Well, yeah, Jetmoto had like 4 games.
But yeah, there was Jetmoto, there was Wave Race.
Yeah.
There was one on the Xbox.
But it seemed like in a 1 to 2 year period there, every system was all of a sudden pushing these jet ski games.
I think Wave Race 64 is what started it. It started, and then that was when Jetmoto made a name for itself. It was riding off of Wave Race.
I mean, I remember Jetmoto, specifically Jetmoto 2. I played this game to death, and I mean, they were just like, you know something? To hell with making anything realistic.
There was the Heaven and Hell track.
There was the Heaven and Hell stage where you're actually going in and out of the 2 areas.
Yep.
And just, the stages were so fucking bonkers, it was awesome. And then you had the more traditional, wave race style games.
Yeah, that are actually based on water.
Actual water, not lava or anything.
And even like Crash Bandicoot Warped had go levels on a jet ski with a full engine to make that run and work.
And after those couple of years, the games basically died out.
Do you think it's because someone at Nintendo watched Police Academy 3, saw the fan boats, and was like, let's make those jet skis and make a game, and watch the worldwide resurgence of this take off?
That would be a really weird way for that to all of a sudden have taken off, but I guess that could be an explanation, watching an old movie like that.
Yeah. God, the Police Academy movies.
Man,
Always end on a big chase.
they were either really good or really shitty.
What I thought of all of them, for the most part, is that they are all kind of meh, but they all had these really action-packed final acts.
Endings. Yeah.
Although none of them beat Hot Fuzz in terms of overall quality.
No.
Still the greatest Act 3 of anything I've ever seen is Hot Fuzz. Holy shit. Does that movie end with a fucking bang?
You know, you and me were getting a little bit, I won't say bored, because they always had good production going on.
It was always clever and witty. It was funny,
like,
but it
where
was
the fuck is this going?
And then...
And then all of a sudden they try to kill him.
Yeah.
And it just ramps up to 11.
And then he decides to go back and and arrest them riding a horse, and then he drop kicks that evil old lady, and I think that's when it started. That's when the movie went from a little kind of clever comedy to holy shit, full blown action movie with amazing set piece.
You and me were laughing for minutes after he jump kicked that woman in the face.
Yeah, he fucking drop kicked her. And then it just didn't stop. It just kept ramping up. The final act of that movie does not give you a break even for a second. There is no... Once that starts, you are on a roller coaster going somehow downhill until the end of the movie.
Though my favorite absurd
good
scene,
downhill, exciting downhill.
My favorite absurd scene from that ending part is when the meat carvers are throwing the butcher knives at them, keeping them pinned down, so they get all the cards. They're yelling as they're pushing it towards them, and it just they break the glass. It's like, okay, yeah, we're good. It's like we defeated them.
Here come the fuzz, and then that guy gets a fucking the model of the spire through his mouth.
There's one line in that ending that I still to this day do not understand. After the guy impales himself on the freaking tower and everything else, the officer asks the kid his name, and he says Iron Angles or something like that, and it kind of shocks him for some reason. I've never understood that clip.
I don't remember. I'd have to rewatch it.
Yeah, even recently I've been like, what is that? Whatever. It's probably something British.
But yeah, I love it.
That movie, and they should never make a sequel. Ever.
No, there should never be a sequel. They wouldn't be able to do it justice.
No.
That's why I say, if you only can pick one part of your thing to make exciting, make it the ending. If you can somehow make it two, make it the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
It's better to do that than to start strong and end with a whimper.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Voltron, but we don't speak of that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we do, but we don't have to.
I still have fond remembrance of certain parts of that show.
Oh, for sure. Everything before a certain point is gold.
Wow. To this day, you know what my favorite section of that show is.
Which is?
That's when Earth is under siege.
That's a pretty good part. I generally like the stuff that came in the season before that, when the Voltron team really found itself under its new leadership. I kind of enjoyed that. I think my favorite episode is the one where, I almost called him Zuko, Lotor is fighting Zarkon.
Yeah.
On the planet while all this shit is happening. That episode is so well shot, because there's one scene where a spaceship crashes and it's this background to Lotor and Zarkon's fight. It's super good. But yeah.
No, it had lots of good parts. It just ended on a whimper.
Yeah, it did not end well at all. Questionable decision making at the ending of that show.
Yeah. I've heard rumors that they've thought about greenlighting a movie.
There are other Netflix animated things that I would want to get a movie well before Voltron. Like She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, for example.
Absolutely. Still looking forward to the new Castlevania season.
Yep. Should be next year.
A lot of good things coming next year.
Yeah, let's go over them. There's Castlevania Season 4. Is Nimona supposed to hit theaters next year?
Yeah.
Okay. Owl House Season 2 will no doubt hit next year.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully Glitch Techs will get renewed.
Hopefully, yes. And for me, there's a whole bunch of season 2s or continuations to animes that I'm looking.
It's not next year, but it's in December, season 5 of The Expanse.
See, I still haven't watched season 1, so
It's super good. You should.
I know I find it when I jump into shows like that, I then binge it.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot to binge.
And right now, it probably is a good time to binge because I'm on vacation. But I also have The Mandalorian that I'm watching week to week, and it has been super good.
I still have to watch The Mandalorian.
It's a gooder.
Yeah.
Probably some of the best that Star Wars has pulled off in years.
I hear good things about The Mandalorian. I hear really good things.
Production values are off the scale.
I hear that Ahsoka Tano was mentioned in the latest episode.
Yes, she was.
Wonder who's going to play her.
Looks like we're going to see a live action version of her.
Mm-hmm. Get the lube. Oh, what? I'm not allowed to say Ahsoka Tano's hot?
Say that?
She's going to be an adult now.
Well, yeah. Listen, I love The Mandalorian, but I'm still hoping that we get a continuation to Rebels.
Maybe that's
maybe
that's what The Mandalorian is. Maybe we'll learn the fates of everyone.
See, at the end of Rebels, Ahsoka and I forget the other character's name.
Yeah, me too, because I never really watched it.
The Mandalorian character in that show was going off to try and find Ezra and Thrawn and what happened to them. Now, this is already years and years later, so either A, they found him, or they didn't.
Maybe they're still looking.
So, possibly, but like Ezra and Thrawn went off into the unknown regions, attached to a bunch of those spacefaring creatures that were basically what taught the earliest spacefarers how to go into hyperspace.
Maybe they've merged into one being, Ezron.
Thrawn being a favorite character of mine, and now that he's, fully canon within...
Jedi Admiral Ezron.
No, let's just not go there. I still think that if they had Thrawn as an enemy in 789, it would have made much better movies than bringing back Palpatine.
There's definitely problems with 789, but I think we've talked about them.
We have.
In fact, let's use one of these YouTube features. If you're watching on YouTube, click on the upper right corner now for our Star Wars takes.
Yeah. But yeah, no, seeing Ahsoka pop up is going to be interesting. We'll see if they actually... Seeing as it's the guy behind Rebels that's doing The Mandalorian, I can see him throwing little tidbits at us as far as what may have happened with that stuff. I'm hoping for more, obviously, but as long as he's in charge of what's happening in Star Wars these days, I have a lot more faith in not just continuity, but actually, proper writing. Oh, did you know that we're getting we're officially getting a sequel to that Jedi Fallen Order game?
Cool. I never really played it, but you did. So you're a happy guy right now.
I'm happy. I mean, it was probably the most accessible Dark Souls style game, and damn it all, it was fun. So yeah, I am looking forward to that. Don't care which system it goes to, I will play it, though. It's EA. It'll go to each of the systems.
Oh, they'll put it out on as many SKUs as possible to make back maximum profit.
Myself, I want good Star Wars games, even if it is under the EA license. On the other hand, I want them to lose the license. So I'm mixed. I want these good games, and the Squadrons game they put out isn't quite to the level of excellence that previous X-Wing and TIE Fighter games have been. However, fantastic games on their own. It's sad that they finally put out a good flight sim Star Wars game, and we're getting no expansions, no DLC, outside of a couple little things they're throwing to us for cosmetics to link in with other things.
There's going to be no DLC for it at all?
Zero. They're planning nothing.
Oh,
Well,
if it's good on its own, it's fine.
It is, but it's sad that they finally release a good game like this in the Star Wars universe. And for the first time that we've had a flight sim from them in the Star Wars universe in nigh on a decade, and we're not getting anything to expand it.
Yeah, DLC can be rife with abuse anyway, so maybe it's for the best.
It can be, but it just sucks this time. The one time that people are like, well, fuck, we want some DLC for this, and EA's like, no, we're done.
Sometimes you get patched content and it just sucks. Speaking of which, let's talk about the World of Warcraft Shadowlands pre-patch event.
Oh my god.
Dave, do you remember the Legion pre-patch event?
Yes.
I do. You know what was cool about that event?
It was
just about
good?
everything. You're in various zones of the game, Westfall, South Shore, whatever, fighting off the invading Legion. Fell Reavers in Westfall.
Yeah.
With the local leaders, like, urging you on, you're able to level up all your characters to max, even if they're low level, through this event. It felt like an invasion. It felt cool. I love the Legion pre-patch event.
You go through the various waves until you get one of multiple different boss characters that would come through.
Yeah.
That you could then take down, and you could actually lose the event. It could happen if you didn't all work together decently.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
Even the Battle for Azeroth pre-patch event, while a Far Cry, still gave you a cool scenario that you got different perspectives of, depending if you're Alliance or Horde, and mounts. So, 2 mounts specifically. And now I get to the Shadowlands pre-patch. And this might be the tamest, lamest, shittiest, most cynical pre-patch event I've ever seen. It is basically designed to make you need to stay logged in, waiting. And talk about, like, Nintendo being a shitty fucking company for selling Mario games for a limited time to shore up their final fiscal quarter sales. That's exactly what it feels like Activision and Blizzard is doing with this. Just keep people logged in so their metrics numbers go up.
Yeah,
Waiting 20 minutes for each rare to spawn for a chance at a piece of catch-up gear. The Nathanos Blight Collar quest, which is kind of bugged right now, where if you die, don't release or you won't get the weapon. And if you do get the weapon, it might not even be something you can use.
Yep, my bud Nick ran into that. He was running on his Ret Spec Pally. They gave him proc gear.
Yeah, great stuff.
It's supposed to drop a cache that you then open in whatever build you want, and it gives you a piece of gear. In my case, it gave me the proper one for my Feral Druid.
Yep.
I got lucky. But what was their response? Yeah, we can't do anything about it, and just run it next week.
Yeah, the second week of 2 that you'll get to run it.
And like some people are like, okay, well, hang on. So what you're saying is for somebody like that has, both a main-handed and off-hand spec 1, so now you're telling me I can't get this because you fucked up. And then I ran this, I didn't know it was bugged, and I ran this 8 hours after they fixed it. And it was still broken as fuck.
It's bugged in that you don't always get something you can use. It's also bugged that if you die and release, and then Nathanos gets killed, you'll get the credit, but he won't drop anything for you.
Yeah.
If you die, the correct thing is to just wait, go AFK. And then when they kill him, if they do, because you can fail, you'll get the drop. Then you can release.
Yeah.
Great system, guys.
I mean, I love the video that happens after it.
Oh, where Tyrande
kills him. I mean, I've been looking forward to that for a while. But yeah, no, this event, I mean, if you want to do all 20 or 22 bosses, mini bosses around
Ice Crown,
that takes 6.5 hours to do a circuit. Now, what should have happened is they should have at least done it in 10-minute intervals, had 2 bosses up at a time, and then had that going around Ice Crown.
I don't even think they should have done that.
I'm talking low-hanging fruit. That's the very minimum they should have done. What they should have done is actually had a goddamn event.
Yeah, it should have been the Legion invasion, but the Shadowlands.
Yeah.
The various Scourge, because it doesn't feel like the Scourge is invading. It's like, the Scourge is back, guys, watch out! There's up to 3 Scourge outside the gate that anyone can easily shit on to beat. No. Watch out, guys!
No, especially for a person who's coming back to the game after 4 years. Now, I've been finishing off Legion content. I'm still doing garrison stuff from back in Warlords of Draenor for mounts and other stuff like that. Going through Battle for Azeroth content. And, like, right now in Battle for Azeroth, I'm going through the stuff where they're sending you back into, like, Pandaria and into Warlord and everything else. Like, those scenarios and everything else. And I'm like, this is kind of cool. This is neat. You're reusing older content. Yes, the enemies in those areas are level 50, but you can still go back to the old stuff by talking to the person to do time walking and stuff like that. So, I mean, I like how they're reusing old content and bringing it forward kind of stuff. And then I get to that event and I'm like, wait, this is it?
Yeah, the event is tame. This is the worst pre-patch event I think I've ever experienced.
It is.
I know there's some others that I didn't experience that people say sucked, but this is lame.
Well, okay, I never got to do the BFA pre-patch event.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only one I haven't been around to do, and this is the worst one they've had.
Yeah, this one sucks. Like, it is bad. It should have just been Legion Invasions, but the Scourge.
I mean, Now, I will admit, I do not remember if there was a pre-patch event for the Burning Crusade.
There was. It was some stuff around the Dark Portal. I remember I have the tabard that you can't get anymore for having done it, but don't ask me to remember what the fuck it was.
Like maybe their first one may have been lame as well, but that would have been like a brand new idea happening. But after this many years and this many expansions to have an event this freaking tame, and even the daily events that you can do, the daily quests, are kind of like, okay, well, that was neat the first time.
Yeah.
Like going over to that one little section right beside the pavilion and taking control of the zombie and going in and slaughtering a bunch of guys there. That was neat the first time.
Should have been a lot faster, though. Too bad your zombie takes 5 million hits to kill one guy.
Yeah.
I could murder them way faster than...
And after going, and again, playing BFA as I have been, there are multiple times in that expansion where they put you into mechs and things like that, and you are just slaughtering the opposite faction in beautiful ways. Like when they asked me to torch and destroy the one Horde base...
With the ball? No, that's what the Horde does to the Alliance.
No, that was when you get into the goblin mech.
Yeah.
And you're torching buildings, and you're slaughtering guys and everything else. I mean, you feel powerful. Using the zombie, you don't really feel powerful. And, it was just lame.
They should have just done Legion.
Yeah, they should have. If they had recycled that with proper, updated bosses, that would have been fine. That would have been great. Also, this feels like a stress test.
It does. It kind of feels like we're being strung along.
In multiple occasions when I did a couple of the bosses there, trying to farm a mount that one of them drops. I mean, there's 200-300 people there taking out a boss, and it becomes a screenshot. I was
streaming that over Discord, and Kiki had tuned in right when one of Arthas's old lieutenants, who says "fear so exhilarating," got hit by 300 simultaneous fireballs. And she was like, I just tuned into you, and I could not understand what was happening to me. And she raids in Final Fantasy XIV, so she's used to chaos on the screen.
I must admit, I do feel a little bit of joy every now and then when some of these bosses are smack-talking you as you're watching their life basically go from 1.7 million hit points to 0 in under 10 seconds. It just... all this artillery is just fucking hitting them.
The best one is Prophet Thoranja. I forgot how cool his voice acting is. Like, Thoranja is eternal. And then he was like, Thoranja's eternal! Thoranja! Like, fuck you, Thoranja.
It's weak sauce. I found it funny that I was able to use my Argent Crusader tabard to teleport right to the event. It was really funny because I'd gone there the day before because I was going to run a couple of the instants in the raid there solo. But then I remembered that the instance requires you to do that solo jousting. I was like, I had no patience for that shit.
Yeah, it sucks. You can do it, but
you can do it, but it's the hardest part of that battle.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, no, I don't want to do this, so I teleport out, and then the next day I'm coming back into the whole chaos that's happening.
I think I can sum up this event with that one debuff. You get an ice crown where it starts getting windy and cold, and you have to go to a bonfire to heat up. And this frost damage that the wind does is significantly less than my passive regeneration. And I'm like, oh wow, so
cool,
atmospheric, guys. Such a good pre-patch. Oh, I can't wait to go to Shadowlands now. Here's the thing, I know I'm gonna have fun in Shadowlands, but this pre-patch is lame.
It is. Ultimately, I got a couple pieces of gear from buying it. The level 100 versus the 110 you can get from drops. And I'm fine with that. I just went right back into BFA and Legion.
My character who I got Mad World with, the really hard solo thing that you can't get anymore, her lowest piece of gear was item level 100. So I'm like, you know what? This event has nothing to offer that character.
See, and that's just it. For you, nothing. Though you can get level 110, 115 from bosses.
That is not enough of an upgrade. A fresh 50, where all their gear is also item level 50, suddenly jumping to 115, that's a huge jump.
And that's just it. For me, I had a couple pieces of gear. I was still wielding my...
Your artifact weapon from Legion?
My artifact weapon from Legion, yeah. Yeah, I didn't have any of the extra stuff anymore, which is a massive mistake in my opinion. That was stupid. Yes, you make those effects still happen only in Legion. But to just say you sacrificed it so that the sword didn't destroy Azeroth was lame as fuck. At least with the heart, once Shadowlands goes live, those effects still work in...
I'm still not a fan
in
of that
BFA.
System. I wish it just kind of worked like Guild Wars 1, where all these effects are skills you can learn and you can equip them later, but every new expansion introduces new ones.
I don't like referencing Guild Wars 1 because that game had such massive solo issues that I don't see much positive there.
I'm talking more about how it handled one aspect of its skill system.
Yeah, I guess.
And I'm really feeling the button bloat now that they've given back some abilities. And not everything they gave back feels like it was... there are some abilities they gave back to you that are objectively weaker and share a cooldown with a better ability. And I'm like, why do I even have this in my spellbook?
And I can't really say just because I haven't been back for 4 years. My Druid feels sufficiently button heavy for what I want.
Yeah. You're playing Feral still?
Oh, I'm still playing Feral. Yeah. That is my thing. Though I have thought about dabbling a little bit into Moonkin form.
Balance. I play a balanced Druid. Balance is interesting because you get to be a very tanky spellcaster.
So I've thought about that. We'll see what actually happens there. The problem with WoW and the way that Blizzard develops its games is it introduces a new thing, but never thinks long-term about how it's going to fit into the next expansion.
Yep.
It's always, well, here's your quirk, and oh yeah, the quirk is gone the next one.
Here are garrisons, and you'll never come back.
I actually am, but yeah, that's just it. The class hall should have been a forever class hall that would have expanded with each new expansion to do new things and have new ideas to it. This is what I want. I want a home. I want a home that is similar to the garrison, similar to the class hall, but I want to do a couple main things. I want to be my trophy center. I want, when I get an achievement, that is there on the wall to show that I've done stuff. I want that if I can go into a archaeology room, which is another thing that they're fucking abandoning in the next one. But I want all of my archaeology trophies from everything to be in a room that I can go around and look at. I don't want to have to go into Pandaria, into a trophy area, the garrison into its own room, into my class hall and then had to go to Dalaran's mystery shop into their upper floor and have it there, and then go into BFA and go into a basement area of another area and look at my trophies there. I want one central fucking place.
As someone who has a lot of alts, I wish I could get that, and that garrison could be the staging area where all my characters are.
Why not?
And I pick who I want to play that day, and I pick another character to be my NPC bodyguard, and I get to continue the same quest chain that everyone was working on. That's what I kind of want. I want to have a squad. That's kind of why I maintain all these characters, is because I'm hoping that happens one day, so I can literally make my characters into my own squad.
That would be nice. Again, the artifact weapons should have had a way to continue, but they want people to start using regular weapons again. They introduced the Heart of Azeroth, which has been an interesting concept for how they've done it. But it's another thing that is being abandoned in Shadowlands. It's just, come on, guys.
A lot of
come up with ideas that can continue throughout.
A lot of forum goers in the WoW forums call this borrowed power. At least they did the last time I was there. I'm currently working off a temporary ban.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, it runs out in the year 3020.
Oh, you've been permanently banned.
Not permanently, just 1,000 years.
Okay, you've been perm banned.
Apparently, saying that someone who's being a shill is guilty of sucking boot is considered harassment.
Seriously, 3020? You do love to get in trouble with what you say on forums.
Oh, as I mentioned earlier this year, I've cut back on that a lot. This was earlier this year that this happened. Before then. Plus, it's on a character no one will attach to me. Don't worry.
Okay.
No one will find you through that character.
Oh, whatever.
Posted all of your personal information up on the WoW forum. You want to fight? This is my name and address, and I put all your stuff.
Oh, that would suck. Yeah, no, this event is just weak sauce. Blizzard just keeps on doing one-shot gimmicks, even as cool as they are at the time. And I can't see WoW lasting more than a couple more expansions.
It needs a total overhaul if it's going to keep going in the long term and not have more number squishes.
Yeah, the fact that this is the second time they're number squishing?
Third?
It's
the third time they're squishing numbers. The first time that it involves squishing your levels.
Oh, okay. That was just a damage squish, right?
Before it was item level squishing.
Oh, okay. That
happened twice in the past, and this is the first time that and the levels have all been squished down.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm hoping Shadowlands is a fun expansion. It looks like it could be good based off of the lore videos and stuff they've given us. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the actual game itself is going to actually reciprocate. I mean, I was talking with my bud Nick. He's finally going to be saying his name on the podcast.
Is he?
Yes.
Shoutouts to Nick.
I just won't use his last name. Anyway.
His last name is Schnick. Nick Schnick. What does Nick Schnick have to say?
I was joking with him that, we were doing the Chromie event where you try and save Chromie from dying.
Uh-huh.
And we were working towards getting the entire transmog set that you can get from successfully saving Chromie.
Okay. And
I mean that takes multiple days, getting the different powers and everything else, and working through it all. And I'm going through Suramar. I'm like, I should talk to Chromie and allow her to go back in time and wipe out the Night Elven race. And he's like, well, why would you want to do that? I'm like, because elves never don't fuck things up. I mean, every major event in Azeroth's history can be tracked back to an elf fucking shit up.
Yeah, and usually her name is Ashara.
Well, when you get that fleet together with Greymane, and it gets to the FMV where we're going out chasing that guy who has the raid event right now.
Nathanos Blightcaller.
And all of a sudden it goes underwater and, Ashara is there and she's pulling stuff. I'm like, fuck, not this again.
The Ashara fight's kind of fun because during it you have to kind of do some manners in her court. And if you don't follow along, she fucking curses you.
Okay.
If you do rude emotes to her, she might just kill you.
I'm not there yet. Nowhere near fighting her yet.
Don't flip her off.
Okay, I will flip her off once.
Okay, you will die.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Your raid will get very upset with you.
Whatever.
Or not. Whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Anyway, all that's happening. And I'm like, yeah, I need to go back and wipe out the Night Elf. Just stop them from existing. And then we started going through all the events that elves had fucked the world up with. And it's like, yeah, everything can be put down to the elves. Let's just wipe them out. 100%.
I have a counterpoint to that.
Ah.
Elves are hot. Fuck you.
Dead.
I want to rub my genitals against elf genitals.
You're having such a okay podcast until you circle back into that.
People know what I'm about.
Yes, by now they do.
I want to rub my dick on a night elf. Or a blood elf. Or a high elf.
Come on, keep going.
A void elf? Do I want to rub my dick on a void elf? Okay, I do, but I don't want to hear the whispers after. So you're just like a void elf, right?
Oh,
and then you hear like an old god in your mind being like, the one you bang serves a greater power, me, and you will serve me too. And I'm like, tentacles, nice. I wish people could see what I visually did there.
I had my eyes closed because I didn't want to see.
It involved my hips and my hands.
Oh, God.
I'm down to clown with an old god. That's what, furry level 9? Like, if Azeroth wants to fuck, let's go. Let's go in the back room. Just don't do weird urethra shit, that's all I ask.
Me and Nick are working
I don't like weird urethra shit.
Me and Nick are working through the Azeroth stuff right now, and we're currently in the, in Ultimate? Ulduar? One of those two?
Okay, let's go over all these Titan facilities.
No, let's not.
There's Uldaman, there's Uldum, there's Ulduar, there's Uldir.
The one which is the entire zone that opened up below Silithus.
Uldum.
There we go. And yeah, I mean, for the event, it's it's much darker. It's got the whole invasion thing going on. Like, ultimately, going through the N'Zoth stuff is how I feel the pre-patch event should have gone. That's what the pre-patch event should have been. Because this shit is cool. Only problem is 2 weeks probably wouldn't be enough for N'Zoth stuff. Because, I mean, they're sending you all over the place. I mean, I don't think Magni's ever gotten this much roaming with your party, ever.
Oh, Magni has been a big part of this event, expansion.
I know.
It seems like every 3 seconds he gets my cell number and he's like, Champion, you got to save Azeroth's wounds!
Actually, that's not a bad. That's not a bad impression.
And I'm like, okay, fine, Magni. Where do you keep getting this number? Fine. I'll go. And it's this. I play Alliance and Horde. I'm a Seamus double
That's
agent.
fine.
So when it's like my troll death night, and I get a call from Magni Bronzebeard, I'm thinking to myself, "Hey man, I'm Horde, right?" Like,
see, and that's what I love about Magni is, ever since he went Crystal,
he's become faction neutral.
Once you go Crystal, you never go back.
No, you gotta rhyme with Crystal now. Once you go Crystal...
you no longer whistle? Don't know.
Folks, this has been Carl's and Dave.
Oh, get the fuck out.
I mean, two fat guys talking.
Yeah. Let's get the right show. Anyway, it's just neat to see how far that character has come from being the grumpy dwarf in charge of everything, always pissed off that his brother gets to do the adventuring, to crystallizing and being dead for almost a whole expansion, to now being this world roaming beside you character that gets to do all this neat shit. And Nick is always so pissed off when Magnus like, okay, yeah, great, we're done here. Poof. And Nick's like, take me with you, you cocksucker. We're going to the same place.
Azeroth's wounds doing well thanks to you. Her wounds! Heard the word wounds so often this expansion.
What I especially loved is you go and talk to Mother, the warden that's there, and she's talking like him. I'm like, Nick, we gotta put Magni down. He's infecting the planet. I have enjoyed so much of the pre-regular stuff in Battle for Azeroth. The regular stuff was just like, okay, well this is neat, but like it was fun, but really it just felt like we were doing really the same old thing that we always do. There were moments of, okay, this is really cool what we're doing, but even the instances to BFA were kind of like they were phoning it in.
I've soloed so many of them at max level.
Yeah, fuck you. I can't do that.
Sometimes with DPS specs.
You know,
I'm going to turn this game into a single-player game yet. Just you watch. I got Mad World. I got nothing to prove.
it's time for them to actually fully institute solo play for instances.
Thank you.
It's time. It's where I have the most fun going to old instances and brutalizing them.
You should do that FF14 thing where you can just have NPCs be your party members.
That is great too. I still have not
Fucking because I've done all the story quests for BFA on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And the war mode quests, the war campaign for both sides, which, by the way, gets you a special mount, an Alliance Wolf and a Horde Horse. And the whole time I was thinking to myself, you know, why is Jaina Proudmoore not one of my party members right now? Because she's clearly important to the story. Maybe she shouldn't have been kidnapped right away and sentenced to whatever. Maybe she should be my party member so I can go through this whole story with her because it's really her story. Like, and I thought the same thing on the Horde side. Like, you know, we have Nathanos Blightcaller and Bane Bloodhoof and all these other interests in Zandalar sitting in that room while I go solo shit that they should really be involved in. Like,
now on the Alliance side, you have the one girl who is with you for a number of the regular quests.
Talia Dragon.
Oh yeah, there you go. You just ruined it right there. Did you guess who?
Oh
she was?
Shit! Did you not know?
No, I had figured that out.
Okay.
But right from the get-go, just based off of the little bit of information they gave right at the beginning, I was like, oh. Nick thought at first maybe that she was Arthas's kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of had to shoot that down right at the beginning because I'm like, the age, when she was sent there, as well as the age, doesn't match. Unless you start doing time shenanigans, but I didn't think they were going to do. I figured out who it was pretty quick because there was actually very few actual options to it without going really absurd, just based on when she was sent there for protection.
Did you see the special dialogue that she has with Gen after Anduin gets kidnapped? After she realizes that Bolvar is alive?
Yes. Yeah. Well, and you see, I'd worked it out before that. Then I saw that video. I'm like, well, I probably would have figured out more of that during the actual BFA campaign, but thanks for confirming it for me. It's just like me and Nick accidentally, again, triggered that... we thought we were doing something else when we triggered that fleet into Najar. Najatar.
A zone I kind of like.
And then all of a sudden, you know, Jaina's there with us and everything else, and we're like, oh shit, we definitely did things out of whack here because we haven't even saved Jaina from prison yet.
Yeah, it's a pretty long quest chain, and it involves a mandatory run of every dungeon on Kultiris. That's also the requirement to unlock the Kultiran race. The hardest race to unlock of all the unlockables.
Why did the Horde get the cutest extra race?
The Vulpira are awesome. You know why? Because they immediately befriended the Vulpira, and whenever the Alliance invaded that zone, they always tried to enslave the Vulpira.
Really?
The Vulpira do not like the Alliance.
See...
And if you do the Vulpira quest to make them an allied race...
Yeah.
They go to Orgrimmar, and this is a post Sylvanas Orgrimmar.
Okay.
So Bane Bloodhoof says you're welcome to stay as long as you like, but we can't afford to have more races join us. We're sorry. So then they're like, it's okay. And then they go to you, the player, and they're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. The Horde needs some help. Let's go solve all these problems in all their zones. And then you do, and you come back to Bane, and Bane's like, I made a grievous error. You want to join us? And he's like, we'd be honored. The Vulpira are awesome. They do cartwheel jumps sometimes.
Yeah.
You can make a camp anywhere in the outdoor world and warp to it once an hour. They're fucking great. I love the Vulpira.
I intend, when I finally make a Horde character, that I will unlock them as fast as I can.
Allied races, you don't... Okay, that one you need to have a Horde character to unlock.
Yeah.
Not every Allied race requires you to unlock it with the faction they belong to.
I know.
I unlocked the Lightforged Draenei with my Troll Death Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
No, I mean, that was cool. It's sad that they're only on the Horde side, but I get it. Now, that brings me to another thing, lore-wise.
Yeah, go ahead, ask.
And game-wise. I'm not asking in this case. It's a comment on what's going on.
Sure.
So, the Alliance...
Yeah.
Blizzard has fallen back on the whole, the Alliance treats other races poorly. A little bit too much.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so... Yes, the Alliance was the main thing that basically caused the Blood Elves to be made.
Yeah.
Because you had a whole bunch of racist fucking asshole Alliance commanders in the field who treated Kel'Thuzad.
Quel'Thalas is Silverman. He's Kel'Thuz, Sunstrider, the prince, who then became evil.
Yeah.
We're going to meet in Shadowlands.
Anyway, and that caused the Blood Elves.
Well, but they were called Blood Elves before, but that definitely caused the Blood Elves to leave the Alliance. The Sin'dorei.
Yeah. But for them to use the same reason that the Nightborn then went Horde, and it just keeps on happening over and over again that, you know...
Well, that one was the Night Elves' fault. It's the Night Elves that told the Nightborn that they're weak. And it was the Blood Elves that actually helped out, and they were the ones who kind of inducted them into the Horde. So that was more of an elves caused all the problem. And solved them.
I guess that shouldn't surprise me, you know. Okay, so it wasn't the Human Alliance that caused that. Okay.
No. It was Tyrande being Tyrande. Oh my God.
And yet, lore-wise, I don't blame Tyrande too much on that. I mean, she's seen multiple night elf versions of their society go dark.
Hey,
over and over and over again. I mean... At that point, no, she wouldn't be the Night Warrior yet. That happened in BFA.
No, but I was going to say that despite the timeline on this, when she's holding 2 double death sights and has black hole eyes, I'm not going to fucking disagree with her either.
That video was like, oh, fuck, do not piss with Tyrande. But you know where this is heading for Tyrande, though, right?
Oh, she's going to die or go evil or
she's being corrupted.
Now, hang on, Dave. You said a word that I don't often hear in WoW. Do you really think she's being corrupted by some dark force?
I hate that so very much. I would prefer if Tyrande, if they don't go the whole Elune corruption path and just have it that once she's done her thing, she dies. I mean, she knew that was going to be a complication of her doing that. Every other one who's gone Night Warrior has died after their task was done. Just because she is Tyrande doesn't mean that her fate should be any different. And you know something? I'm going to say it. The Night Elves need new leadership. Tyrande and Malfurion have been running the show for way too fucking long.
I think what should happen is she should be going more and more off the deep end. And it gets to the point where, meanwhile, on the Titan's throne, where Illidan is still watching over Sargeras' throne and tomb, that Malfurion's there, and he's like, Illidan, brother, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think you gotta help me take out Tyrande. I think she's gone too far. He's like, nonsense, what is she doing? She's literally, like, stabbing babies. Like,
I don't think Illidan and that... The whole council's gone.
Well, Illidan is watching over a sealed Sargeras, and the Titans are there.
No.
Yes, I beat Legion. I know what happened.
A number of things that have been said in BFA make that very doubtful.
Sargeras, at the end of Legion,
blew the fuck up. Like, when the whole council pulled him back to them,
yeah,
there was that massive explosion. They sacrificed themselves and Illidan to take out Sargeras.
I don't know what weird story you saw, but I will show you the cutscene after, and you will see how 100% wrong you are. I don't know what other cutscene in your mind you've melded this with, but what happened is they pulled Sargeras back from Azeroth and sealed him in his throne, and Illidan said, finally, and he would remain there to watch over that. That is literally the end of Legion Day. What you're remembering didn't happen. You are mixing up some anime or something with this.
No, I'm not.
Okay, pause it. Load up the Legion ending. No, we're going to do this right now. Pause it, because you are 100% wrong, and we're not continuing with you under the impression that I'm wrong. Pause the podcast. Let's look it up.
I prefer my take of reality.
Pause the podcast.
And we're back, and Carlos is wrong. Okay, so Carlos's interpretation is probably right here.
Probably.
So
you're probably right. They probably didn't explode. They never even exploded.
I thought that the end was an explosion, and then in BFA, an NPC, one of the leaders, had mentioned that the council was no longer reachable. So based on the information I had, I thought they were dead. But Carlos tells me that after all that happened, you talked to Illidan, which means that didn't happen. Okay, I was wrong.
You didn't need that bit of context to not think that. Again, did you think the Enterprise exploded at the end of every episode?
Of course not, because that was
warped off.
Because that was an established effect.
It was the same effect.
I took it as an explosion. I was wrong.
You want all characters to die. You're like I predict that this character will die and this character will go to war and this character will
right a lot.
Been dismembered.
Anyway, okay, so they're still around. Illidan is playing his
This is why I keep telling people the Legion's not dead yet, and Sargeras is still on the table.
Well, okay.
We have not yet fought Sargeras.
No, and the sword, I'm sure in an expansion or two, is going to turn into a whole bunch of demons. It's not just a sword, it's going to be his way of coming back.
I want to equip that sword, but at full size.
Now, the first time Nick saw the sword, of course, we hadn't gone all through Legion, so he had no idea what it was. You can see the sword from Theramore.
No, you can see the sword from very far away.
And Nick's like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, giant sword.
A few things have happened to Azeroth. Sargeras may or may not have attempted to penetrate... let me pick a different word.
Well, and I hadn't been to the sword either. Obviously, it had been gone for 4 years. So I flew into Silithus. I'm like, I knew the sword was there. I didn't realize it was that big. And when I got into Silithus, I'm like, they blew up the entire fucking zone.
Oh yeah, no, you can talk to that one lady and go back to the past.
And I'm glad for stuff like that, because as much as I hated the Silithids, the zone was pretty cool for what it was back in the day.
Lies. The coolest Silithus has ever been is when it got stabbed by Sargeras. Silithus has literally never been cool.
And then Nick's like, oh yeah, so they're going to start chiseling away at the base of that sword and everything. I'm like, what? So it can go down and fall and destroy the rest of Silithus? Because it would totally fall.
They have to be careful how they remove that thing.
I don't think they can.
Because it could fall on top of Feralis very easily.
Well, it's leaning towards the remainder of Silithid's ruins. So
hey, maybe people in every zone around it should evacuate. Like,
well,
maybe not on Guro. Maybe they're fine. But
could you imagine the earthquake that would happen if it actually did tilt and fall over?
This is why it needs to be. You just need to shrink it.
Yeah, you're gonna need a Titan to pull that off. At least when they bring back the Legion, it's gonna be a much changed Legion. Because they won't have the infinite resources they had before.
Depending on if the Dreadlord's master plan to take over all the cosmic forces is successful or not, the Legion might not even be demonic in nature.
True.
I don't think Sargeras is off the table. I think Sargeras is going to be an ultimate final weapon used potentially against these cosmic forces by the forces of good.
We're still probably 2 expansions away from coming back to that trough.
We'll see.
Now, do we actually kill Ashara?
No. After you defeat her at her Eternal Palace, because she was working to free N'Zoth.
Yep.
N'Zoth nabs her,
Fuck.
But you then encounter her in Nyalotha. You actually free her from her torment, and it turns out that she had been planning to kill N'Zoth all along, because she has her own plans to take back what she thinks is rightfully hers, which is Azeroth, basically. And she teleports away, and she is, who knows what Ashara is up to.
Lovely.
So she is still alive.
I am going to enjoy the expansion that we finally kill that bitch.
What's wrong with Ashara? Don't answer that. That was a rhetorical question, and I didn't mean it. Ashara is horribly
What
evil.
isn't wrong with her? I mean, she basically caused all of this.
Let's go over the pros and cons of Ashara. Cons, screwed over the planet multiple times for her own needs and ego.
Yep.
Pros, super hot.
Which form?
Both. Cons, tried to murder us by sinking our ship when falling to Najatar. Pros, dem titties are immaculate.
I am glad you're not in charge of diplomatic relations.
Between who and who?
Anybody.
What are you talking about? You don't think the universal power of immaculate titties can't solve world wars? We can all agree on the immaculate levels of titties.
The only good Naga is a dead Naga.
I don't know. I think maybe they're getting a bum rap. They're literally stabbing babies all over the place.
Game and lore-wise, together, there has never been a good Naga. Not once. We have never met a Naga that has been like, hey, I want to work with you against these guys.
What about Naga the Serpent from Slayers?
Not relevant.
Cons, she will screw over the entire world for her own self-interest. Pros, dem tatties
Yeah.
is a mousin.
I knew you were going to go there. But no, actually, it's funny. The Naga are one of the only races in Warcraft lore that there has never been a traitor or a resistance against Ashara.
Because they all love Ashara, and surely that has to count for something.
It's weird.
It's a little weird. It's almost like they're a giant cult.
Which they are. Yeah, no, it's... Again, go back, wipe out the elves, rest of the world goes on half-life.
You can't. The elves are too hot. I won't allow this. I remember there was once in an old issue when I was a child and sneaking into my dad's room to steal his heavy metal magazines. I once saw a hentai ad in one of them, and the tagline of it was, "He likes brownies, so he married an elf." And I never understood that line, that joke. Can you explain it to me, Dave?
I cannot. Heavy metal was a very...
Does it involve ass fucking?
Probably.
I'm guessing that's what it involves. So the implication is that elves like anal.
This is coming from heavy metal. Heavy metal was weird.
Oh, yeah. That was a weird and horny magazine.
Also extremely graphic for both violence and sex.
Yeah,
had some of the most creative works I can think of in those fields.
I recently, and again, this is the title of the story. I intended to only to refer to the story and not as a slur. It had a story that I loved called Gypsy, and I recently got the omnibus of that because it turns out they made an omnibus of it, and it is a beautiful, weird, horny, immaculately drawn story. I love it.
Heavy metal was extremely creative back in the day. It's like ultimately heavy metal. You can actually link to a number of storylines that became popular down the line. Started with heavy metal and their ideas.
For people who don't know, but you remember Metalocalypse, take Metalocalypse, remove the comedy, and add sex. And that's heavy metal.
I don't know if that's entirely fair, because a bunch of heavy metal did rely on comedy within the gore and the sex.
But that wasn't the main focus, right? Like, there were comedic stories.
Depended on the author.
Of course, because they showed works from a variety of authors.
But you are correct. Think of Metalocalypse, add in a lot more sex.
Yeah.
And I will be honest on this, add in a lot more creativity in a lot of areas. And I love Metalocalypse for what it did there. But, I mean, you could have fantasy, you could have sci-fi, you could have genre mixing, you could have just drama. But you were guaranteed to have both sex and violence within your...
Take one part She-Ra and one part H.R. Giger and mix thoroughly. And that's heavy metal.
That totally was.
Like Like, I only now realize how good of a fucking analogy that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's heavy metal. It's, what led to this? Right, World of Warcraft. Titties. Folks, if you want to complain about how many times I said the word titties, direct your comments to my ass.
It can take all the criticism.
All of it. It's very...
We good for this one?
Yeah. Folks, thank you so much for listening to Carlos and the... Fuck, again. Two Fat Guys Talk, the podcast, the experience, episode of something or other. Go to our website, twofatguystalk.com. You can also reach us at animerave.xyz, home of Carlos Evander, and titties and panties and porn.
Tune in next time.